I am humbled by the incredible attention this broadcast has given worldwide. And I am doing my very best to be 100% accurate and to be as informative as I can be here each and every day. I want you to know that, and I understand more and more the responsibility I have. And I also want to ask listeners for your support, whether it be by spreading the word about the broadcast or defending us when people lie about us, financially supporting us by buying the books and videos, because I realize that I'm committed to this 110%. There's no going back. I passed the point of no return more than a decade ago. But all of us have passed the point of no return. This new world order comes to kill, steal, and destroy. It is tyranny incarnate. It is evil in its very essence. It has set itself against everything good and transparent and wholesome and enlightened. This global system competes with itself to be more wicked and more oppressive. And I've always told people, don't defend me when the mainstream media attacks. Move on. Stay on target. Stay on issues like the North American Union, globalization, inflation tax, illegal wars, torture, federalization of police, stage terror, genetically engineered food, population reduction, the danger of vaccines. But more and more I realize that it's important to stay on target, to continue to get issues out, but that what I didn't want to happen has happened. I never wanted this to be about Alex Jones. I wanted it to be about the information. And it is about the information, but people love tribal leaders. They love characters. They love the hero archetype. And so much of my message now, which is just the reality of what's happening in the world, is now bound up in my identity, bound up in my name, bound up in the symbol of what I am and how people perceive me. And I like to screw around. I like to play the part of characters and joke and have some fun. I like to be lazy intellectually and get angry and yell and scream, and that's certainly entertaining and part of what built this radio show. But none of it was intentional. And now I'm just trying to gauge the true success we've had in affecting the way that hundreds of millions of people see the world, unlocking their minds, taking the blinders off their eyes. And now I am being directly targeted by the system. And as Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you, then you win. But many people don't make it to the final process. The idea makes it to the winning, but many times the leader doesn't make it out, in fact, most of the time, of the then they attack you phase. And to have Chris Matthews, the Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, the New York Times, Time Magazine, Newsweek, the London Guardian, Salon, hundreds of other publications lying about me and saying that I'm basically calling for violence and that I want people to kill cops. Do you know why that's being done? That is being done so when they kill me deader than a hammer, it can be sold as, well, he deserved it. He was messing with our precious protectors. Or when they stage a terror attack, so it can be blamed on yours truly. I've now entered that zone of intensifying danger. And the funny thing is, I'm not concerned about that in the least. In fact, it's invigorating. And not at an emotional level, not at an adrenaline level, but at a spiritual level. It is extremely purifying, satisfying, deep down, to know that I set out to fight corruption. I set out to fight the scientific dictatorship. I am disgusted at every level by tyranny. And now I have the attentions of the dragon, which means I have irritated the dragon, which means the dragon is not invincible. And if I've had this much success with all of my problems, think of the success you can have. So don't get caught up in thinking you've got to do a perfect job. Just engage the evil. And again, I talk about myself sometimes in relation to the New World Order because that's how we all relate to the world as individuals, because I know the journey I've gone through is similar to the journey many of you have experienced. You've experienced things that I haven't. I've experienced things that you haven't individually. But overall, our journeys are very similar. And together, we can beat this New World Order. That's what my mission has been a testament to. That if we take action against corruption, we can win. And the system knows that it's discredited. The system knows that the people are aware of what it's doing. The system knows that the population is waking up faster and faster. That's why they're desperate to inject race into every issue or religion into every issue. They need distractions. And it's just like the movie The Truman Show. As Truman wakes up to what's happening, they try to put more and more fear into him, more and more of these fears that were inculcated into Truman at birth. They intensify those. And at the final scene of the movie, where he's trying to get across the little sea to the other side of the set in this controlled paradigm, this controlled reality of the mind that he's in, they turn the storm up on high, and he has to risk his life. And the boat even tumps over and almost kills him. But that makes him an even bigger hero. And the system at the end knows they can't kill him because the whole world is watching. Well, my awakening's been similar to the Truman Show. Your awakening individually is similar to the Truman Show or the Matrix. These are archetypal examples of this. But many of us do have to die in that little boat trying to get to the other side, trying to get out of the Matrix, until the people do see the nature of the tyrants. I mean, look at this incredible news that Rob Jacobson just brought into me a few segments ago. The IPCC consensus on climate change was phony, says IPCC insider. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change misled the press and public into believing that thousands of scientists backed its claims on man-made global warming, according to Mike Holman, a prominent scientist, climate scientist, and IPCC insider. The actual number of scientists who backed the claim was only a few dozen experts, he states, in a paper for Progress in Physical Geography, co-authored with student Martin Mahoney. Now, we told you this day one. They just put 2,500 scientists' names on that, said every scientist in the world agrees, the science is set. And then thousands of those scientists sent letters in saying, take my name off. I never was part of this. This is a fraud. And the UN said, no, we won't. Well, here's the actual paper. Climate change. What do we know about the IPCC? And it says, without a careful explanation about what it means, the drive for consensus can leave the IPCC vulnerable to outside criticism. This is quoting from an internal IPCC report that they quote in here. Claims such as 2,500 of the world's leading scientists have reached a consensus that human activities are having a significant influence on climate are disingenuous. That particular consensus judgment, as are many others in the IPCC report, is reached by only a few dozen experts in the specific field of detection and attribution studies. Well, we have the UN report from 7 months ago that got leaked, which the UN admits is their report, from a decade ago, where they said we've got to go out and literally finance the heads of these key universities in England, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the U.S., and Germany to have them be the, quote, leaders of the movement, and we're going to get global socialism out of this carbon tax. I mean, what an incredible document that came out. We know exactly what's going on here. And we have the former head of the IPCC told Jesse Ventura. They got an interview with Santer. Bill Santer. It's amazing what a celebrity can do. The people that will talk to Ventura. The word is on this news season, it's unbelievable who they're getting interviews with, but I'll just leave it at that. Santer admitted, yes, there were a bunch of scientists in our report and who disagreed, so we pulled them out. On the inner panel, not the 2,500 fake list. I mean, you've got Al Gore coming out and saying, this is 100% of scientists agree man-made global warming is real and is a real threat to humanity, and that sea levels will rise, and that both the Arctic and Antarctic will completely melt in the next 7 years. He said that 10 years ago, and again 3 years ago. It never happens.